Good morning, everybody. So this is my 6th day. I'm coming up upon a week of living in my car in undisclosed location. Monday of last week was officially my last day in an apartment. Ooh, boy. The worst part really wasn't actually living in the car. I had been sleeping in my car on breaks at work because I have like hypersomnia, me and my doctor think, where I just need to sleep all the time. That's an ongoing issue. And so, because that's usually the biggest concern everyone has is, how do you sleep in your car? Like, I wouldn't get any, I'd sleep like a baby. In some ways, it's actually a little better because I can just go out to my car and sleep rather than having to drive all the way home. And yeah. So, it was moving all the shit because I was in a 1-bedroom apartment and I'm admittedly a little bit of a pack rat, which everyone in the tech and maker community is kind of a pack rat, like borderlining on like hoarding. So I was actually one of the better as far as that goes. So that should tell you something. So dealing with all that was actually the worst. Anything to do with the car was actually fun because it basically became arts and crafts, like making the window covers, which, by the way, if you're doing this, just make custom window covers. I tried first night. I was practicing when I was still kind of in the process of moving out of my apartment and the bed and couch were in storage. I tried to use like blankets, but no, just make them. So that part was fun. Moving all the shit out sucked. I thought I was pretty physically fit, and I am. Like, I've moved all my past dorms and apartments because my friends were losers that wouldn't help unless you basically bribed them. This apartment was actually a little easier because I actually had friends that cared. But still, going from a 1-bedroom to, like, a storage unit, I actually wound up getting another storage unit just so I wouldn't try to cram everything into one. Partially because I'm admittedly not the best at one skill I'm having to get very good at quickly that I thought I was okay at and I really wasn't, is making best use of space. Living in a car is going to teach you how to make best use of your space pretty fucking quickly. So, it's a good skill to have, so I'm not complaining. But yeah, everyone's probably like, oh, but it's been really cold. Like, anyone that's in the area I'm at is like, it's getting down to like 30, 20 degrees. Like, here's the thing. Winter in the car, unless you're very sensitive to the cold, is really not that big of a deal. You know, I kind of run hot. I was worried about my dog, Barbara. There you go. Say hi, Barbara. See, she's not even cold right now. She's shivering because she's a min pin. Not because she's, like, even all that stressed out. I mean, she's kind of stressed out, but that's being anxious is baseline for a min pin. But anyway, I was worried about her. Little dogs run hot. And if she gets cold, like, she'll just go under a blanket. The big thing is really just having enough blankets. Couple of the first nights, I thought I had enough blankets. I didn't, which again wasn't that big of a deal. And that's the main thing, is that it's just an inconvenience. Because sometimes it's like, oh, it's really cold, I can't sleep. Let me go turn on the car for a few minutes. And the nice thing too is that because it's cold, people aren't going to bother you. Like, the people that are going to be trying the door handles and stuff aren't going to do it in the winter and the fog. So winter's actually relatively easy. Summer, or even when it starts getting above like 60 degrees at night and then like above 70 during the day is when I'm going to start being worried. Because you're going to get more people trying door handles. Your car can basically become an oven and kill me or my dog very quickly. So that's actually when I'm worried. So when it starts getting the warm weather, that's when I'm going to have to kind of reevaluate the whole car situation and either need to up my game or, get an apartment. Or I may start doing more dispersed camping. So we'll see. But that's when I'm going to have to start getting clever. This is going to sound really weird, but I have felt the best I've felt in a long time. I haven't even really had any headaches. Headaches is something I struggle with really badly. And I thought it was not getting enough sleep, not getting enough water, just all sorts of things. I think it's honestly just stress. I mean, those things can aggravate it too. Not getting enough water is a guaranteed way for a headache, even for somebody that doesn't get a whole lot of headaches from at least non-scientific anecdotal evidence. But I felt the best I've felt in a long time, which I know sounds really weird. It's like you're living in your fucking car. The rent crisis is really just that. It's just such a rent crisis, and you know, really I only had a couple of options. You know, I could get a roommate or a bunch of roommates. I've had like one good roommate my entire life. I've had a lot of roommates, only really had one good one. It was a vegan, by the way, which was interesting, which is why I can only shit on vegans so much. Like, I don't agree with them on principle, but I've known vegans who are good people, so. So it was either that, like hell I'm doing that. I got a lot of sensory issues, and I realize this is my problem. I'm not gonna go on the whole, like, the world's ableist. Like, I have sensory issues. Living with other people, and people noises is what sets me off, and, like, some people noises physically hurt. Maybe I'll make a whole video on that if people want it. So, or get a really, really cheap apartment. I don't know anybody, and I even read accounts of it too, because I looked into it. Like, I looked at apartments. I did my due diligence and looked at all my options. The problem with a really cheap apartment is that it's I don't know what it is in other places, but at least in Ohio, it's hard to get, like, out of a lease if you're in a bad lease. So if you just have like a bad neighbor, or just a lot of your shit's just broken all the time, as long as they fix it within 30 days, or more if you don't fight them, which a lot of people don't, unfortunately. Look at Barbara, she's doing her digging thing. She'll do this for like 5 minutes and make it all comfortable, only to then get up at the slightest provocation. Hi, Barbara. Or she might be looking for food. She might be looking for crumbs. So anyway, Barbara break. So yeah, I've not known anyone that's had a good experience in a cheap apartment. Or the car. And the car, honestly, seemed like a natural choice. And honestly, I was kind of considering doing van life or something even before, like, my finances absolutely went to shit. Not that they were ever that amazing to begin with. Because, again, I'm a pretty hardy person. Like, I'm a camping type of person. Like I said, I run hot. I don't get cold very easily. I am comfortable sleeping in my car. I'm very high on the open to experience on the ocean, like very high. So I actually kind of go crazy if I'm stuck in one place for too long. And so the car was really kind of a natural choice. Even though, like, to me, it wasn't the hardest of all the choices. And I mean, here's the thing too. I had a couple friends that really, really were worried for me and really were trying to get me to not do it, and still kind of are. They're still kind of trying to push me to stop doing it. And I understand it's completely out of love. They're really trying to help me at the risk of maybe kind of being sort of patronizing, versus like my actual biological family, which would just be who would just like to be patronizing at the risk of maybe occasionally being a little helpful. So they're doing it out of love. But I've slowly been able to convince them that I'm really doing fine. Of course, a lot of them are like, you know, if it's bad, you know, you can just come and like show up and we'll try to. So, and that's good. It's good. Definitely if you ever decide to live in your car for any reason, even if it's not strictly financial, do have a backup plan. And I do. I have several friends that will literally let me just crash the night if I have to. And I'm quite fortunate in that way, because I realize a lot of people in this situation don't have that. But yeah, honestly, it's safer too. Like, really, if you think about it. If you kind of get over the whole mental block that a lot of people, particularly older people, have over like women living alone in car, or anybody living alone in car, it's really safer. I feel a hell of a lot safer alone in my car than in like a cheap apartment. Because the thing is that if you're in a cheap apartment and you're next to like domestic abusers or a sex offender, which you often will be, let's just like, not to stereotype poor people, but at least because I'm one of them, but the reality of it is there's going to be a higher concentration of those sorts of people in those apartments. You know, as we're in my car, living in your car, if you have even those basic street smarts, you'll be fine. Like, just have a general gut feeling. It helps that I have a dog that will start barking, which is often enough. So if anyone wanted to do like petty theft or something, she's going to be sort of a deterrent. So I actually feel much safer in my car than any other options. Even the roommates options, I mean, maybe it's just because I like am in the cybersecurity space, but I'm just way too worried that inevitably my identity will get stolen by one of them, or they'll just get into my stuff, or accuse me of getting into their stuff, which is probably more likely with how like neurotic I've learned people can be. So yeah, like I said, I've felt the best I've felt in a long time. A lot of it's just not paying rent, let's be real.